Alright, I'm going to show you my recipe for chicken and rice. And I just get a package of chicken. Now this is a small package of chicken, and I make sure that it's fresh. I like the legs because they're easier to take the meat off. You can also use thighs. Now I experimented with white meat, and the white meat gets tough because cooking time on this dish is 40 minutes, and if you cook the white meat 40 minutes, it gets tough. So that's why I learned to use the dark meat. And of the dark meat, you can use the thigh meat. It has a little bit different taste, but it comes out very tender, just like the leg meat. The drumsticks are just easier to take the meat off, so that's why I use the drumsticks. And when I buy my chicken, I give it the sniff test. I make sure that it's within the sell-by date, and then when I get it home, I give it the sniff test, and I don't allow any aroma or odor on the chicken at all. And otherwise, I take it back right away. So your chicken should have no odor to it. After you do it a while, you get to understand what odors are allowable and what isn't. But the chicken should have zero smell to it. But anyway, we cut the meat off the bone, and also I've learned to cut it this way. You don't get all the meat off, but you get to a point of diminishing returns, and you can spend a lot of time trying to get all the meat off the bone. And cutting it this way, I get most of it off. Alright, and this is the last leg. I pull the skin down, and then I slip the knife in along the edge of the bone and cut the meat, and I end up with a nice chunk there. And we cut this off. Also, you need a sharp knife, a reasonably sharp knife. A dull knife is not only going to waste time, but it's more dangerous as well. Alright, so I've got the meat cut off the bone, and you can see those are my drumsticks. That's what they look like after I've taken the meat off. There is a little bit on there, but you could spend a lot of time trying to get that last little bit. Now, one thing I do, I don't like to use my cutting board, but I will. One thing I do is I like to cut these chunks. Now you can see that's a nice chunk of meat. I just cut that. So I cut my pieces in bite-sized chunks. And then after I get them, I like to rinse them off also. You don't have to. They have a slimy membrane on it, and you can cook it with that. My granddaughter Ivy likes it with the membrane on. She calls it slimy chicken. She likes it that way, like this. And then the last thing we'll do is I'm going to rinse this cold water. And then you can see the chicken. Now this isn't much chicken. Usually I'll have twice that amount, but my granddaughter doesn't eat much, and so it's just for my daughter and myself. We'll eat it. So that's the chicken in the bottom of the pot. And then next we're going to add, wash my hands. Don't take any chances with chicken. Always have to wash thoroughly. This measuring cup, and I keep my rice in the freezer, and that keeps worms from getting in it. If you cook your rice with the little worms, it doesn't change the taste or anything, but it's just the idea of it, psychological idea. Little worms are perfectly good to eat if you have to get them in your rice, but if you put the rice in the freezer and store it in the freezer, you won't get those worms. That's something I learned. Now, what you want is a cup of rice and 2 cups of water. So this usually I'll put about 1.5 cups of rice, and then I put that, sprinkle it around, and cover the meat with the rice. And if you're going to season it, then you put your seasoning on, salt the meat. I don't use pepper, but a little bit of salt, marjoram, cardamom, cumin, to make it Middle Eastern style. Any of those spices, but and then 2 cups of water, and you don't want to have too much more than 2 cups, but that's just a tad over 2 cups. And then pour it gingerly over the rice, so you try to keep the meat covered. Alright, and then we're going to cover our dish, and I'm going to set the power to 75, set the time to 40 minutes, and then start, and that'll be done in 40 minutes, and just in time for my granddaughter to get home from school. Then we'll have a salad with it, and some canned Greek dressing, and it'll be a gourmet meal. Okay, chicken and rice, you better use hot hold. Just right. Okay, there's some rice, little piece of chicken, some more chicken, Alright, and I put a little bit of salt on it.